Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, December 23rd, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread? First two cards flying out of the deck today. I love it. I absolutely love it. We've got here our 7 of Pentacles in combination with our Empress card. And honestly, I got to tell you right now, my friends, I'm very happy to see the Empress card in its upright, because we've been having the last three consecutive reads. We have had the Empress card coming out. And we're going to talk a bit about this because the Empress has been going upright, reverse, upright, reverse. Why is the Empress moving back and forth in upright versus reversal? Because we've been talking like, welcome to Mars retrograde energy, right? And welcome to coming out of a Gemini full moon. Now, this is going to affect everyone, but especially if you're in like more aligned to feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This type of energy is really articulating, and we spoke a lot about this, the combination force of the Gemini full moon with the Sagittarian energy. And now we're starting to move into Capricorn, which is going to be a little bit more grounding. It's a lot. It may have felt very ungrounded, particularly coming out of that full moon cycle. And a lot of it is working on the addition of the fact that Mars is in retrograde right now. And that is difficult. It's gonna be difficult like this until February, because the Mars in retrograde takes a real hit at the confidence area. Now, if you've got Mars placements, it might be a little bit easier, but you know, if you're feeling yourself moving back and forth as it relates to doubting one's own self or doubting one's own ability, remember that that may have a lot to do with what we're energetically working through right now. Now, for feminine energy, and we spoke about this, for feminine energy deep within divine union right now, a lot of this work that we see that one is navigating is healing some deep inner child wounds. And a lot of that is the feminine reorienting themselves with the nature of rejection, right? Feminine recognizing that when one is on the pathwork of purpose, you better be ready to feel a lot of energetic rejection, because when you're on your own pathwork, recognizing what is best for you and recognizing what others desire from you, they can feel very oppositional. But this is a lot of the feminine energy that is working on embracing themselves in that modality, because this is the energy of the feminine that is learning to identify what feels best for them, right? It's uncomfortable when we do that. It's frustrating. It often feels like a lot of rejection, but if that's the feminine experiencing rejection, that is the feminine that is now assessing the feeling of rejection and saying, is a rejection coming because of others that are disappointed because I'm not rising to the highest version of self? Or is that the rejection of others that articulates or comes upon when one is moving with a pathwork of purpose, but it doesn't necessarily please the directionality that another hopes that one finds you in, right? A lot of this energy right now of the feminine being compassionate on themselves, recognizing that perfection is an illusion, but at the same time, perfection is an ideal. An ideal is something that we always strive toward but never reach, right? So this is a lot of the feminine that is coming into contact with their highest version of self. And they're finding a lot of compassion for themselves in the process, but also for a lot of those around them. While for masculine, this, I want to say that the thing I'm seeing here is a lot of is for masculine, this may be feeling a little bit more different. Because for masculine energy, again, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, this is some of that Capricorn energy that is starting to come out to play. Especially with this 7 of Pentacles. Because we see even now that this is the masculine energy that is working upon identifying the source of their emotions, right? This is not the healthy masculine energy that says to itself, in order to be masculine, I have to divorce myself from emotionality. This is the masculine that is being present with their emotions, working to identify the emotions of the ego, right? The egoic self that is more that angry toddler energy that wants what it wants when it wants it, versus the space of the emotions that protect something precious, right? And what's beautiful about this is I see that a lot of the masculine energy doing that work is looking towards feminine as that counterpart, as that template that helps them recognize that, helps them orient to a certain degree. Now, for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, I'm just identifying that a lot of this work is recognizing and feeling the energetic relief in what one is creating with counterpart. Very much the same work that we see here, especially because for a lot of these energies that are coming into divine union right now, this, and I need to stress this, these are not energies that are building into making something tangible in the hope of fixing something that is broken. This is energy that may have potentially been working on something for like the last 7 months or so, working to heal since a lot of that, potentially even that eclipse cycle. And so we see even now that for a lot of the energy facilitating upon that work, this is a point of appreciation, right? Because this is the energy that recognizes that they still have far to go, but they're looking back with a point of identifying and feeling the satisfaction in how far one has come. So this is a lot of that same energy working on the same lesson we saw that was occurring for energy deep within divine union, which is if this is the energy that feels frustration with the self in terms of what one hopes to be, this is the energy that reaffirms to each other and reorients by showing each other how far they have come. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation, this is really beautiful because this is more of a continuation of what we saw was occurring last week when we were doing our readings. What did we see was healing for a lot of the energy in separation right now. If these are energies that are working on healing wounds of trust, the difference between hesitation and anticipation, two things that often look similar but feel very different. A lot of this energy are moving slowly, but it doesn't matter how slow they're moving because they have clarity about what they're creating together, right? So if these are both masculine and feminine, giving each other the gift of consistency and clarity, we see that there's a tremendous amount of healing that's happening right now for energy and separation. Look where we find these two. For masculine, because, and that's not the, like, and if this is the experience where in the past there was the someone misunderstanding anticipation being that sense of never knowing what's going to happen next, right? Like that is not anticipation. That is anxiety. I can see a lot of energy in separation who are healing from wounds of the past of someone that felt like they were keeping someone in a constant state of anticipation, which creates and induces a state of anxiety as it relates to direction something's going towards. This is the energy that is learning healthy anticipation in building forth to one another and giving each other clarity with also a sense of expectation. So it is the anticipation with healthy expectations. Center card for today's reading is, we have here our 3 of Swords in its upright. We can see why this may be bittersweet work right now for the energy and separation. Closure comes in many ways. And some of the hardest closure that we often have to recognize is the closure we have on the past by receiving something that we anticipated or hoped to receive from the past in the present context. So I see even now there's some energy here that's recognizing that they're building closure in the past via nostalgia, right? There's a lot of this energy right now in separation that is not shielding themselves from seeing the past, right? Because when we shield ourselves from seeing the past, we cannot be observant of lessons. When we hold it too tightly, we grow bitter. I can see even now this is the energy that is taking those steps forward, doing something the same way they did something in the past and receiving different results. And it's in those modalities that we allow for the healing, but sometimes that healing, it can be very painful, right? because that moment that you receive something that you hope to receive from someone in the past, or that moment that you get clarity on something that didn't make sense at the time that you experienced it, I see even now like a lot of that energy saying to themselves, I can never go back, because that clarity is such that by receiving that point of insight, it almost hurts more, because you're seeing the thing that hurt you with deeper clarity. That's a bit of the gift of this Gemini full moon, that sense of nuance. But when we're able to navigate nuance and not be reactive, this is why we kept saying over and over again, it's really important, if it feels like something similar to the past is happening again, move towards it with intentionality, not with cynicism. Because when we don't move towards something with cynicism, we allow the possibility of our eyes to be open to see the difference, right? And I see even now a lot of that energy healing, double threes here, and it's hard work, but it's valuable and important. Now, I keep getting, it's sweet bitter. It's not bittersweet, it's sweet bitter. This is the energy saying that healing is one that like it hurts because it's healing. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is coming into divine union, this is the energy that if there was turbulence coming into divine union, this is more of the energy amplifying and saying to those outside of partnership, if there was turbulence, that it was not the intention to cause pain. When we're moving in healthy partnership, we don't do it for effect. We don't do it to get one over on someone. We don't do something for another person's perception of it. We do it because it heals us. And so I just keep seeing a lot of this energy coming into divine union. If another is taking pain via that observation, this is the energy that holds space for that recognition point, but then feels doubly that sense that it doesn't necessarily change the directionality that they're moving towards, right? Like I just keep seeing that is the energy that speaks towards the sacredness of those bonds, right? And that's why I keep hearing the energy saying it's not the intention to cause harm, it's the intention to heal, because that's the energy that finds healing in those partnerships. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, this is the energy holding the unknown at bay. I can just see a lot of the energy in divine union saying, we don't know what the future holds, but we know what is in our hands today. And so a lot of that work, this is the energy, this is more of a continuation of where we saw this energy on Friday, which is just like in the job of making joy right now. I keep seeing a lot of this energy right now, deep within divine union, going, got to get out of my way. I'm making joy right now. Doesn't matter what you bring me. I got to turn it into joy. Everything's on hold. We're making joy right now. The next two cards in our 5 cards spread. And of course we got 3 cards coming out, because why not? It's a Gemini full moon. It's coming out of that Gemini full moon. We keep getting doubles on things. But I think it's really important right now when we look at this, because where we find masculine and feminine today is really beautiful. The cards we just pulled, the next 3 cards, there were supposed to be 2. We've got here our 10 of Wands in combination with our 5 of Swords in combination with our King of Swords in its upright. So we see even now, look at the counterparts right now. We've got the Empress and the King of Swords. So we've got a lot of this work that both masculine and feminine are doing right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Working on harmony, abundance, doing the things that one needs to do. And I see a lot of nostalgia here today. I would not be surprised if energy is not in like a very nostalgic place, because I just keep seeing some kind of point of observation in recognizing how far one has come and how far one still has to go, right? But what's beautiful about this is, for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, this is why you kind of like when you're moving with a pathwork of purpose, you let go of the energetic outcome. Because I just keep hearing that a lot of that energy deep within divine union is saying to them one another, come what may, because this is the energy that says like, our job is to create joy for one another. And in that space or place, like making it work, like there's a lot of that. This is that Capricorn energy that's coming in. It's like making it work. It's just everything is just more grist for the mill when you're working on trying to move in that directionality. And this is why I see even now a lot of the energy coming into divine union is very much in the same space. It's a little bit more hard right now for the energy coming into divine union, because if this is the energy that was experiencing turbulence coming into divine union, it's more of that same conversation of saying to others where the intention is, right? This is more of that energy articulating that when we move with a pathwork of purpose, we don't do it for effect. We do it because we are affected. And that's why if this is energy that is navigating hurt or pain that feels like it was caused as a result of that, this is either the energy that says, thank you for being concerned, thank you for caring, or this is the energy saying that it was not, that moving into healthy partnership is not done to be able, like for the desire of causing harm or pain to another, right? So there's a lot of compassion that I see here, amplified by that sense of wanting to spread joy, wanting that same joy to be shared, as it were. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, look at this. This is the energy moving towards one another with trepidation. There's slowness here, right? This is energy in separation that's saying slow and steady. But even here, I can see that something about those new partnerships that are emerging in separation, this is the energy that's saying, like, if this is the energy saying, like, I need to, like, I need a little time here, or I need a little distance, I'm doing things. This is the energy that gives each other the gift of clarity. Because healthy partnership does not put you in a perpetual state of anticipation as to what the future is. This is the energy that builds upon the sense of anticipation by articulating what the future is. We're going to talk about that again, because this is important. The delight of anticipation isn't in not knowing what is going to occur. The delight of anticipation is being able to have the clarity as to what's going to occur so that you can relish and enjoy and savor the time in between. So this is the energy that is building into a context of anticipation, but it's healthy anticipation. It is the delightful surprise of knowing that there's something wonderful and surprising that they're going to be providing to one another. And this is healing from any of those experiences in the past where someone tried to misconstrue what anticipation was. That sense of leaving someone hanging or leaving someone in a perpetual state of the unknown. This is how the energy is healing from those wounds, by recognizing the nuanced difference between energy that tries to articulate anticipation when they're really in the context of serving hesitation, versus energy that is truly moving with integrity towards one another and building healthy anticipation along the way. Continuing to get clarification between our Seven of Pentacles in combination with our Empress card. One card to clarify, please. One card clarifying. We've got here, I love it. We've got here our Ace of Wands. I told you, this is still really good. This is really good energy for new ideas, new projects. I know it seems counterintuitive what we're seeing here, but this is a little bit of that lingering sense of the Sagittarius energy that we're experiencing as we begin to move into Capricorn season. A little bit of that kickstart, if you will. So a little bit of this here, I see that some of this easement, some of this grounding is allowing for a little bit more productive channeling in relationality to some of those creative endeavors. So a really good day for communication, a really good day for planning, a really good day for getting things done. Because I just keep seeing that there's a little bit of this like this easement or this additional time that feels like it's being freed up right now. That's allowing for fresh starts. And that's happening across all of the frequencies. There's a lot of creativity and communication I see that is happening right now. Continuing to get clarification between our Empress card. And we're going to talk about this because this to me is the most important thing that I'm seeing here in combination with that Ace of Wands. For masculine today, it's going to feel more... I just see masculine having time to like pick up things that they've had to put on the shelf working on things that they haven't had the chance to do so. It's feeling like a little bit more catching up today for masculine energy. For feminine here, though, this is some deep unpacking. But because we've got the double threes that are occurring right now between our Empress and the Three of Swords. May I please have one card to clarify here? This is feminine being much more introspective today, very similar to what we were identifying masculine in over the last few days. Yeah, you see this? It's Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. So, and I want to put it, okay, I want to put it this way because it's not surprising to see these in these modalities right now. You'll recall that masculine is getting better at being able to communicate their emotions. So we see even now that that's a lot of the masculine being able to articulate on something after introspection, right? For feminine, this is more of that same sense and space of having, I want to say, a healthier relationship with things that don't move in accordance to them, right? Because this is more of that same energy of the feminine that is working on not basing their perception of the self on others' perception of them, right? So I just keep hearing a lot of the feminine energy like are saying, like, I'm sorry you feel that way, right? Why is the feminine saying, I'm sorry you feel that way? Because that's the feminine that says, your feelings don't impact how I feel about myself, but they're valuable and they are important and I hold space for them, but only to the limit that I try to help with them, not so that they impact me internally, right? So we see even now there's a lot of that feminine that's healing in that context. Because when we're when we're navigating others' disappointment, we don't overly internalize it, right? We don't look to the self and feel bad about ourselves if another is disappointed. We recognize it with, I want to say, a degree of compassion, but one that does not change our direction. So I see even now there's a lot of the feminine that is like, expressing that feeling, but utilizing the healthy boundaries. And this is happening across all of the frequencies right now. Now, for the energy and separation, this is fundamental because these are energies that are building into, I keep getting healthy excitement. What is healthy excitement? Is healthy excitement the context of building forth with someone and having no clue what's going to happen next? No, that's not a relationship. A relationship always gives clarity as to what one can expect. That's why it's called a relationship. You know which direction it's going in. That's why the word ship's in it. You know which direction it's going in. So this is the energy that feels the anticipation in knowing, in working into that context of healthy excitement. And in the moment that they receive that context of healthy excitement, building excitement, even if it is in the context of a surprise, right? But like that sense or that space of like knowing, like not like no, they're saying like the healthy space of knowing what's going to come, but feeling a little fuzzy on the details. Like this is the energy that's healing from those experiences that kept them in a constant state of anxiety that's another tried to frame as romantic, by recognizing that there's nothing romantic about being kept in a constant state of unknown anticipation. Continuing to get clarification between our and this is why it's painful, because if this is the energy that's experiencing that lesson in the context of the past, it isn't the unknown past that provides clarity of understanding. It's the present that gives context to the unknown, the misunderstandings of the past. So clarification between our Three of Swords, our Ten of Wands, and our Five of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Magician in its reversal. So we got a lot of healing today, but it's frustrating because sometimes when we're healing, we articulate and say, I'm healing from disappointment. I'm healing from, something that I thought was going to be magical, but instead was just disappointing or just frustrating, right? So this is a lot of that energy that is working through that context via the healthy energetic partnerships, because this is what I keep getting as to the feeling of healthy surprise, right? The surprise that feels supportive, the surprise that feels nourishing, the surprise that builds upon a sense of expectation and anticipation in a positive way, that heals anything from the past that tried to articulate that just uncertainty about the direction that something was going was romantic. Right? This is the energy saying there's nothing romantic in not knowing what's going to happen next. So we see even now that a lot of that energy working through that, it's difficult because I see that is where the nuance is taking place, because it's a similarity to feeling the sense of anticipation, but without the feeling of unknown as it relates to what's going to occur next. While for masculine and feminine energy, coming into divine union, I just see that a lot of this energy coming into divine union right now, I keep hearing the energy saying it wasn't the intention, right? If there's a feeling of turbulence there, I just see everything is becoming smoothed over, because this is either that space or place of recognizing the landscape through which your partnership is building upon. It's bittersweet, right? This is others navigating and recognizing what that direction is. Some feeling happy for you, some feeling energetically disappointed. It's not changing the direction, right? Which is why we keep hearing a lot of that same articulation of it wasn't my intention, because if that's something where another expresses their frustration over it, it's a clarification that we move towards healthy partnership, not for a sense of effect, but because we are affected. While for a lot of this energy right now, deep within divine union, this is navigating one's own doubts and uncertainties and fears, right? This is a lot of the energy deep within divine union, recognizing and feeling the sense of value in terms of what they feel they have is within their power to control versus what is outside of their power to control. And I see even now that for a lot of that energy, this is the energy that says it doesn't necessarily matter what occurs outside, because this is the intentionality that they bring forth to one another. That says, like, that is the commitment and the promise that we make to one another, which is regardless of what occurs, this is what our direction will be. Continuing to get clarification between our 10 of Wands in combination with our 5 of Swords, in combination with our King of Swords. So this is some like real unpacking today. Clarification coming through right now with our 2 of Pentacles in its reversal. This is, and we want to talk about this a little bit, because this 2 of Pentacles in its reversal, it basically is amplifying the fact that we're moving out of some of that Gemini full moon energy, which I know wasn't necessarily for everybody, right? A lot of that pickiness that was potentially rising up, right? But what's important when we navigate pickiness, right? It's not that pickiness isn't precious, so long as pickiness is built upon and based upon something that is important. So I still see there's still a little bit of this, like there's still a little bit of this pickiness here that we're experiencing as we move further and further away from that Gemini full moon energy. But a lot of it here has to do with the pickiness of something that is a priority versus another person's pickiness that may be feeling like it's coming more from the egoic space, right? And so I see even now, this is why anyone navigating that is trying to do so with a level or degree of compassion, because that sense or that space of feeling it, but not allowing oneself to overreact to it. If someone is being reactive throughout that, again, it's not like you're matching them energetically there. You're just being observant of it, right? And a lot of this has to do with intentionality and consistency. We're going to go through this a lot right now as Mars is in retrograde, right? Courage is not what you do when you have full stability in terms of knowing the energetic outcome. It's just allowing that pathwork to guide you. Continuing to get clarification on that, speaking here with our Ace of Wands in combination with our Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Cups. So what do you do when you're navigating uncertainty? You meet it with compassion. You meet it with kindness, right? And so we see that across all of these frequencies right now, that sense of compassion is what is amplifying so much of this work right now. And it is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. It's very important here to recognize the combination of the Empress with the Knight of Cups, right? Because a lot of that I'm seeing here just has to do with that feeling of being emotionally in alignment, right? Now, for masculine, this combination of the Ace of Wands with the Eight of Pentacles, this is the masculine doing more of that work to be able to articulate upon the emotions, identifying which emotions are I want to say the higher self emotions, like which emotions rise up because they feel like they are sacred versus the energetic emotions that often feel like they can be oppositional to the direction that the masculine desires to go towards, right? This is a lot of the masculine energy that is working on and identifying and saying my emotions are sacred so long as my own ability to identify what they are protecting guides me in navigating through them, right? So I still see that that's a lot of the masculine energy that's working to communicate that either internally or externally. While for feminine, I see even now, this has more to do with the feminine being energetically picky in relationality to, how others perceive them, right? And I can see even now, like I feel like a lot of this energy right now of feminine had to go through some stuff, especially during this like Gemini full moon, that felt very feels very binary. It feels very much like someone being in that space of saying like loving or hating, right? I can see a lot of this feminine energy being like, does that person love me or hate me? It's like this is the feminine that recognizes that when someone comes towards you in a space that you can't identify if they love you or hate you, it's because they're not in a space where they've recognized their own feelings. They're just feeling a lot of them, right? So this is more the feminine that is helping the masculine with this work. Again, bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Because this is a feminine that says, I do my work to navigate through my own emotions, to be able to articulate how I feel. If another comes towards us and it seems like they just have a lot of them, but they're not able to articulate upon them, this is a feminine that says that is an energy that needs to go into that pathwork of introspection to work better on identifying it. Because this is a feminine saying to masculine, it's not my job to help you understand that. That would be prescriptive. It's your job to identify it within you. And this is what's allowing for a lot of healing right now, right? And I see either for the energy deep within divine union, this is a lot of the masculine that gets it. Like the masculine that gets it, I see it gets it. I can see a lot of masculine being like, yeah, I remember when I was like that too. Because for a lot of this energy right now, that is coming into divine union, this is more of that recognition of what feels like it is the obstacle within the self, right? This is more of that energy saying, I'm not perfect. And this is the energy coming into divine union that says it's not our job to be perfect. It's our job to move towards perfection. And we're always going to feel like we're missing the mark. But the question isn't about missing the mark. It's making sure that we're heading in the right direction. While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, I just see a lot of closure that's occurring right now. I see a lot of energy, new partnerships that are creating closure because the gift of healthy anticipation with the expectation of what one can expect is healing anything that kept you in a constant state of confusion that was confusing unhealthy anticipation with anticipation, right? Not knowing what's next is not healthy anticipation. That's something altogether different. And I just see even now, this is the energy that's recognizing the difference between a delightful surprise versus being kept in a constant state of unhealthy anticipation. Continuing to get clarification between our Eight of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Magician in its reversal. One card to clarify falling out of the deck. We've got here our Strength card, which we just studied last month in our Tarot Church classes. And we're going to talk about this because one of the things I mentioned in those classes, strength in its reversal does not mean a lack of strength. Strength in its reversal speaks towards a deeper sense of strength, the strength of vulnerability. I just see a lot of this energy right now in separation that is working to heal by being energetically vulnerable to one another. But is this the energy that is being vulnerable and then finding someone that's like latching on to that weakness and saying, thank you, now I know where your Achilles heel is? No. This is the energy that says we are vulnerable to one another because we learn deep things in the moments that we give another our vulnerability. That in that moment or in those opportunities, when we give another person the gift of our vulnerability, the energy that recognizes it as gifts, what do we say to each other in that context? I will protect that vulnerability as though it were my own, right? And I see even now there's a lot, this is why we have so much of this bittersweetness right now, because there's energy that is being vulnerable to one another in separation, building into these new contexts of partnership, and someone saying, thank you for that vulnerability. I will be extra sensitive there. Versus healing from those experiences in the past where someone said, thank you for showing me where your weakness is so that I can leverage it whenever I want to create that expensive reactivity, to create that abandonment wound that serves my own energetic purpose. I just see a lot of this energy right now. And it's hard, right? Because we talked about when we're healing wounds of trust, it's the hardest thing because we have to do the thing that caused the wound in the first place. But when we do so, we give the universe the opportunity to say to us, great, now I can show you what it would have been like with someone that cared. Now I can show you what it would have been like with someone that was mindful, right? And so a lot of this energy is healing and separation by saying trust is never a failure point. Discernment is the enemy of healthy trust. So we see a lot of this energy that's building slowly and healing the bonds of trust in the process. For masculine and feminine coming into divine union, this is why this is energy. I just keep hearing joy, 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 because this is the energy that says if we're moving into divine union, it's not with the intention of hurting those around the self. It's not with the intention of causing turbulence. This is the energy that recognizes and identifies and says to others, don't, if that caused you pain, recognize it was not the intentionality of it. While for a lot of this energy right now, deep within divine union, this is the energy saying, we can control the things we can control and we can't control the things we can't. And it doesn't change our direction one iota, right? When you're moving in a pathwork of intentionality, you say come what may, because it doesn't matter what comes ahead of you. It's just about how you navigate it. Continuing to get clarification between our Magician card in its reversal in combination with our Two of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Wands in its reversal. So I got to talk about this right now because this is, I want to stress, especially with this combination of the Strength card with the Four of Wands. This is still having to navigate frustration, right? This is still having to navigate frustration. But I see even now that for a lot of the energy doing this work, it's not that things become easier. It's that your perception of things as you do it tends to change, right? Because if this is the energy that's healing across the spectrum and saying that they're not taking that personally, this is the energy that gives that same level or degree of compassion to those around them at the same time. And, I keep seeing like some of this work here, like the one thing I see that may be still coming up as a bit of a frustration across these frequencies has to do with someone, like, it's almost giving me the type of energy of someone not holding themselves in a state of preciousness, right? Someone effectively not identifying or recognizing the sacredness of their own path work, right? Because everything that I'm seeing here is articulating upon, and I want to say this, like, for energy deep within divine union, this is why if you experience someone in that modality, you give them that moment of compassion, because I see even now that there's a lot of that energy deep within divine union that recalls those moments when they themselves doubt themselves, or they continue to do so, right? But this is the energy that says that work towards being perfect is one that often feels like we're stumbling, right? Like it feels like we're always energetically failing to a certain extent, but it's a compassion that we give ourselves on the way that predicates how we walk that journey, right? So for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, that gift of love, that gift of support, this is what articulates that feeling of taking what is negative and turning it into a positive. For a lot of the energy right now coming into divine union, this is why I see a lot of that energy of experiencing turbulence coming into divine union is navigating it with a sense of compassion, but not one that changes their own intention and direction. While for a lot of this energy right now in separation, something about identifying that work, I just see even now, I can see a lot of emotionality that's coming up as they're building into new partnership, because it feels like it is highlighting what was missing in the past, right? And that's not the energy in separation that says that they were perfect. But this is the energy that recognizes both what was within the self to change versus what was outside of the self to experience. So I just keep seeing that this is the energy that's building into that context of healing via new healthy energetic partnership. And it's just unpacking and unpacking and unpacking, because the more they articulate it, the less they react to it. And the less they react to it, the more they heal from it. Continuing to get clarification between our Knight of Cups in its upright in combination with our Strength card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Six of Swords. This is sentimental energy today. If you're feeling sentimental, I mean, it's sentimental. There's a lot of sentiment here. I mean, especially with this like Three of Swords, the Six of Swords, and the Five of Swords here, right? There's a lot of nostalgia. There's a lot of sentimentality. And I wanted, and I do, and I feel to a certain extent as well, there's a lot of healing from the past. But what's beautiful about this is it's not the fact that something has changed here, right? I see a lot of energy right now experiencing something that feels like they've experienced before. But there's something really beautiful in the moment that we experience it in a different way, because we identify that we have changed, right? And so I see that one of the big things about this nostalgia that's occurring here, it's feeling something that feels like working through an old hurt, but seeing it in a different way, reacting in a different way, is like, you know, it can almost feel painful, right? Because it doesn't hurt less. Your observation of the hurt just feels like it's amplified because you're not letting yourself become reactive to it. You're letting yourself be observant through it. So if you're feeling like that today, I want you to continue to talk about it instead of react to it. Write it down if you have to. You know, just let that be a space of like healthy expression today. continuing to get clarification between our Strength card in its reversal in combination with our Four of Wands. And this has to do with what we were talking about healthy and unhealthy anticipation. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with the Wheel of Fortune in its reversal. I just keep seeing that for a lot of this energy here, the gift of love, like this is just the message, the gift of love is not keeping someone in a constant state of bated breath, right? I just keep seeing like this is, I hear energy saying, it's not about taking breath away. It's that inhale of surprise and joy, right? And so I see even now that there's a lot of that energy healing in the context of feeling the frustration of the unhealthy energy that kind of keeps you in a constant state of uncertainty as it relates to what will occur next, versus those energetic spaces that build upon the anticipation of something in a healthy way via that sense or that space. It's like healthy surprise versus the anxiety of the unknown. And so I see even now there's a lot of that healing that's occurring in that way, because this is just the energy that says anything that keeps you in that state of like perpetual uncertainty, like that's different than the energy that builds upon that sense or that space of clarity, right? And what's hard about that is I feel like, especially for a lot of the energy in separation right now, this is the energy receiving that in new partnerships and identifying it and being able, I keep hearing, being able to spot the difference, between someone that like doesn't create that sense of clarity as to what to expect versus someone that builds that sense of clarity with the excitement of having that delightful surprise on the other side of it. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, this is more of that energy. And this is how you can tell the healthy energy coming into divine union, because this is the energy that if others are making a big deal of them coming into divine union, this is the energy that articulates and says that was not the intention. Like this is the energy going, that was not the intention. While for masculine and feminine energy, that is deep within divine union, this is carrying each other's frustrations. This is a lot of feeling that weight. And this is why, like, the only difficulty that I see here for a lot of the energy deep within divine union is holding space for another's frustration, because this is the energy that doesn't see a separation point between the frustration of one versus the frustration of the other. This is the energy that just kind of carries it equally. And again, it's not the fact that that changes their direction, but it does almost feel like that sense or that space of saying, like, being able to identify, what feels intentional versus what feels avoidable is what I'm seeing. Like there's a lot of that here, right? Because a lot of that energy deep within divine union looks for the practicality that we give one another as the gift. Final card for today's spread, and these two cards actually came out as I was reading on those. So we've got two. We're still not out of that Gemini full moon because we're ending today's spread with two transverse cards. Clarification between our Six of Swords in combination with our Wheel of Fortune. We've got here our Judgment in its transverse in combination with the Devil card in its transverse. So I'm going to say it again, okay? I don't want you to get triggered today. And I got to stress this. It does feel to me like there may be some situations or scenarios that rise up today that feel like they are triggering because they feel like they were energetically avoidable, right? This is why I see so much of the energy today potentially feeling triggered about something, is if something is happening in a way that it feels like it was energetically avoidable. This is why the energy is articulating and saying, like, the gift we provide one another is the context of building forward as it relates to plans, as it relates to clarity, right? I can see even now that the reason that energy gets frustrated, like the reason energy right now, deep within divine union and coming into divine union, is getting frustrated is only when there's a frustration point that feels like it was easily navigable via the gift of clarity. So I see that a lot of that work today has to potentially do in articulating upon something of that nature without being reactive to it. And I know how frustrating that might be for those that are experiencing it, because something about some of this frustration today does feel energetically cyclical at nature. Someone's own patterns, someone's own habits. And that's why I see, remember, if you're navigating that with someone, that it feels like something is repetitive, the gift we give someone is the observation of recognizing, right? Like letting it be, I'm going to say it now, let it be an educational moment, right? Don't assume someone is doing so intentionally, and don't take it personally. But that's why I see even now, this is the energy that articulates upon it, because once you give someone clarity onto it, that is the gift that you provide them, being like, well, I'm not going to assume that was what was intended. But now that hopefully you can do something more productive with it, right? So let that be a compassionate educational moment today is what I'm seeing. Like almost giving someone like today is a day of like, and I'm not surprised with like the combination of the Gemini full moon with the Capricorn coming in and the Sagittarius being like, this is what I would have done. It's that kind of energy. Did you consider doing this instead? Like giving someone the benefit of doubt in terms of saying like, here's a bunch of positive ways that one could have navigated that, instead of something that may have felt like it wasn't helpful. It just created more frustration. Bottom of the deck. And it may be a little bit of a challenge today, because I got to say, like some of these points here, there's definitely like this whole period right now. And I told you, this is a repeat of the lesson that we saw during this Gemini full moon, which is it's picky, right? If you're picky in the right way, you can untangle a knot. If you're picky in the wrong way, you can create a snarl. So again, make sure if you're being picky, it's for a purpose. Don't be picky in a way that you like mess something up for yourself, is what I'm seeing. Bottom of the deck on this reading today. Yeah, this is and here's the thing. Everybody's feeling overtasked right now. Everybody's feeling in a mood. Everyone's feeling a little uncomfortable. Mars is in retrograde till February. I wish I could tell you that this was going to go away, but I don't. It's everybody's going to feel ultra sensitive right now. Everybody's in their feelings. Everyone feels like it's only happening to them. Remember that. Okay? Because when you recognize that, like, we're all feeling like we're at a bit of an energetic disadvantage, we can navigate and give each other compassion in that space. Don't assume it's directed to you. Assume everybody is doing the best that they can until proven otherwise. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into our private readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the strength card. I had such a wonderful time going over that card with you. Our next class will be held on Wednesday, January 15th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Hermit card. I cannot wait to teach this class to you. It's one of my favorite cards. Really fascinating card. We will be going over the symbiology of that card, the history of the card. I will be showing you the application of how to read it in any direction it appears in your own readings. And I will also have a unique spread to help you channel that particular card's power and insight. All of that is available to you if you become a subscriber to our class program, graystrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our tarot church classes each and every month. You will also have access to the full library of previous classes. That is over 9 hours worth of classes and material that is a part of your subscription plan. It's not necessary to catch up for each class. I'll be giving a recap in each and every class, but the material is there for you to receive when you're ready to receive it. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we've studied thus far or are currently learning. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also receive a complimentary mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in order to achieve your tarot goals moving forward. One of the things I tried to do with these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. So I want to thank you if you're just joining us there for the first time, and I look forward to potentially seeing you at our next class. But even if you don't be, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, I would encourage you to head over to our subscriber-only Discord channel, because there you will find a very special coupon code that will give you an additional discount to that Substack subscription. Even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings, services. I post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my full online live schedule. You'll also be notified as to our giveaway information. And speaking of giveaways, we've announced the winner of our November giveaway. Congratulations to our winner. You can head over to our recent newsletter post. It is listed there. And finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for my clients seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason. They are focused on whatever area of personal growth or spiritual development you are most invested in learning more about, and can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series. That is 4 45-minute readings, weekly 45-minute classes, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I am very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again